work. That did not work. Oh.
Nope. Why don't you do it on? Why don't you do it on that bus? Not on that bus. Why don't you do it on that basketball hoop?
All right.
Come on, dunk it. Let me see.
I can't dunk it.
Why not? I'm only like
5'11".
You're only 5'11"?
No, I'm only like 4 something.
What's up, bus friends? So yesterday was a pretty eventful day. Spent some time installing, well, ripping out and then installing one of my 2 emergency roof hatches. And I recorded some of it, but not all of it. Because I just needed to knock some of it out, and it was also homecoming weekend, and the camera was in use for other things. Blah, 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 blah. I let you down, okay? And I'm sorry. But the good news is I still have another hatch. So you didn't really technically miss out on anything. I'm not gonna walk down there because I also just put in a nice coat. In fact, you can notice how nice it is because it's very bright. There, I'll adjust the ND filter. By the way, look at this cool shadow right now. Ready? Couple new coats of Henry's Enviro White, and you can see there the first of 2 Maxxair roof fans. So this is the one that needs to come out next. Pretty straightforward. In fact, I don't know how interesting this kind of stuff is, but I'm probably going to record it for you anyways because I promised that I would do a better job this time around. Ground these out on the other one because even with an air chisel, man, those things wouldn't move. So I'm gonna get those ground out, try to get this ripped out. It is beautiful weather today. In fact, it's been raining almost a week and a half straight here in western Michigan. And so 3 days in a row with almost no rain in the forecast, high of about 67, sunny. And so my big push this week is to get the rest of this roof completely done. I want to get that emergency hatch out and my second Maxxair fan in, and then I want to get the rest of my coats of Henry's Enviro White. At that point, the only thing I have left to do, which was my goal before the snow flies, is to get my solar rails through bolted into the ribs of the bus and the rails attached to the roof. Now, panels won't go up for a while, but I want the rails on here. And I've been saying from the beginning, if I can get the roof pretty much wrapped up before we get snow on the ground, then I can really spend the winter getting a lot of stuff inside sort of planned out, framed out, and then when the spring comes, I can hit this thing with the ground running. So that is the current plan, and we're going to try to get as much of this roof hatch ground out before the sun goes down, which is going to happen in about 2.5 hours. So that's where we are. Come along for the ride. Oh, see, that's funny because I'm building a bus and you ride in a bus. Dang it. Zeke! Help! Quick! Come help your daddy.
Go up to the bus?
No, my gosh, I need you, quick. I dropped the extension cord. Help, quick. Best part about having kids, they can go get stuff for you. Quick! Oh, that red extension cord, help! Can you bring it over to the ladder? And can you help me? by climbing up the ladder a little ways and handing it to me. Come on, this is your chance. Be strong, be brave. Come on, boy. Be strong, be brave. Be brave, be strong. So proud. One step at a time. So proud. Next thing you know, you're going to be climbing El Capitan with no safety ropes. But let's just do the ladder today. You doing good? A little further. Come on now. You're good, man. That ladder ain't going to go anywhere. Yes? Look at this kid. My gosh.
All right.
Hold on. Don't drop it. You're so good. Oh, man. Dude, you're the best. Thanks, brother. Oh, yeah, that trick my dad taught me when I was younger. Let's do that this time.
With our hearts set on nothing, we've got a lot of love to make to get us there. With a little good intention and a whole
Yuck.
lot of acting like we
Ground out. I gotta pry this thing out. That last one was not super easy. So we'll see how this one does.
fight fair. A brick thrown in your path can start a war before you even know it's there.
Well, I'll tell you what. That is not easy, but that one came out a lot easier than that one did. So we got some caulk left over, but for the most part, a lot of it pulled right off, which is really good news. It was a bear on that side to get all that caulk up. So pretty excited that wasn't as difficult as it was. I'm starting to lose my light. I'm gonna try to get this caulk at least cleaned off. Maybe, if I have time, get my 27-inch 16-gauge steel panel screwed, and then on that side I did some pop rivets as well. But get that riveted in and try to get as much of it covered up as possible before the night comes. Although again, we don't have rain in the forecast for 3 days, so that's good news. And I plan on taking as much advantage of that as I possibly can.
The older we get, the better we used to be.
Pretty easy. I mean, again, this really thick stuff is nearly impossible with just a standard scraper, so it does a pretty decent job. And actually, this is still sticky enough, and the butyl tape that I'll put on, the new butyl tape, will sit up, you know, right on top of that. That after giving this a quick wipe with alcohol, on the other one, I just put my butyl tape right on top of some of this residue that was left. It really wasn't that big of an issue in terms of sticking. I've got it screwed down and I've got it pop riveted down, and then of course sealed over the top of it. And so I don't even necessarily feel the need to get all of that off. I need to get it flat, but I'm probably not gonna worry too much about this kind of stuff because it's gonna seal right over the top of that, no problem. Maybe I'm crazy, and maybe some of you would spend a day with Goo Gone and a toothbrush scrubbing it out, but there are definitely some things that you've just got to try to move past a little bit quicker than what you might on, you know, specific finish work kind of things. So that's where I am right now. I'm going to try to get the rest of this off.
Or you're leaving me, I'll be right here. I'll be right here.
New day, same problems. Not problems. Same jobs. Not jobs. Same task. Vent fan number 2 going in today. Last night I finished ripping out the emergency hatch, and now it's time to get, first of all, that 27-inch hole turned into a 14-inch hole. So I got one of these cutouts that a friend made for me on his plasma cutting table, 27 inches square, which will cover the opening from the emergency hatch that I pulled out, and then a 14-inch opening, which is what the Maxxair fan is going to go inside of. Before I get that up and on the roof though, I'm going to do just a quick measurement for this scrap piece of 2x4, which I want to mount underneath so that when I screw my Maxxair fan through the sheet metal, I'm not just screwing through the sheet metal, but into some wood structure as well. If what I just said doesn't make any sense to you, just follow along and it'll all be clear in a moment. All right, up on the roof, these will be my pieces that will be structure for the opening to screw down into. Here's what we've got in terms of the stuff we need. Butyl tape, which is what we'll use to seal directly underneath the hatch itself, as well as that cutout Sikaflex 221, which is the best sealant around. Some self-tapping screws. I'll use these to ultimately get me, there we go, ultimately get me a good hold on that piece that I put down before I end up running some good old-fashioned pop rivets down in, which just do a nice job of securing things a little bit stronger, and since they're not screws, they don't come loose, which is definitely a nice option.
Another home to call home, another fight to fight there. A brick thrown in your path can start a war.
Pretty straightforward in terms of self-tapping screws every 6 inches or so, and then dropping in some pop rivets into each of these spots. So, lots of vibrations on a bus. Is it likely that screws will rattle loose? Probably not, but is it possible? Yes. Am I answering my own questions right now? You bet. So, screws to kind of hold it into position, and then I'll pop rivet the rest of it to just kind of hold it into place. And pop rivets, of course, will not shake loose on vibration, and so that ought to get this spot really kind of secure. And then we'll drop in the Maxxair fan into the little 14-inch opening. Pretty straightforward how this works. Basically, you drill a hole for this size of the sleeve and goes inside of here, and when you start cranking, it pulls this piece up, which opens the sleeve and basically creates just a nice friction fit. Just like that. All right, so rivets are in. Trying to just clean up a little bit of the extra butyl tape that will sometimes squeeze out as the pressure, sort of settles in, so that's not an uncommon thing. But I'll Sikaflex this edge, drop the new Maxxair fan inside of that, and get it butyl taped and screwed down. And then at that point, we're pretty much watertight. I'll do some lap sealant over it in a day or two. I just want to give everything time to cure, plus getting just my final coats of Enviro White on the rest of the roof. I haven't done more than a coat on this part of the roof yet. So just getting these last few things kind of buttoned up real quick, and then we'll drop that fan in and get it screwed down before I lose all my light.
With our hearts set on nothing, we've got a lot of love to make to get us there.
So pretty straightforward design. I got it upside down right now, but here's your piece that's gonna sit down inside of the opening like that. And then once I get that screwed down, this whole piece just sits right down on top of that. So we're gonna set this aside for now. And get this thing secured, fastened, put in.
Life can start a war before you even know it's there. The older we get, the better we used to be. If you're coming or you're leaving me, I'll be right here. The older we get,
Just like that, dropping this guy on. Got a couple screw holes to line up, and run a couple of these self-tapping screws through. We'll be good to go. One note for those of you who might be doing this, so this basically just sits on this gasket, and when you put it in, and it's probably a good thing, but that gasket is nice and firm, which means this doesn't actually push down enough to line up perfectly. So what I did last time was just put a little board on top of this ridge to push down so that I could get that screw hole in. Do not push on this because you'll break it. But you've got a little raised edge here. In fact, I wonder if that's what this is for, to get a little bit of leverage to pull that down to line that screw hole up. So I'm gonna get this screwed down, get some Sikaflex put in around these seams, and then call it a night, because I'm, as always, losing my light here pretty fast. So
I'll be right here. I'll be right here. You know what's keeping you alive in your world.
All right, friends, that's a bigger project than what you might assume for something as simple as a vent fan. But we got both of them in. Number one, number two. And I'm feeling good about having those old nasty emergency hatches out. And so at this point, I'm just gonna clean up a little bit, go inside and eat some dinner, call it a night.
The older we get, the better